Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Mud stream. Back, first time in a bit. Here we are. Check us out. Speaking of checking out, I'm gonna check to see if there's any other commits here. Doesn't look like it. Pretty sure we are good to go. So I can go ahead and add the latest plugin. Save. So what's been going on anyway? Well, let's break out the website on you. Oh yeah, table of contents. Since the last time I showed off this website on stream, Veek added that. It's also scalable, unlike the table of contents on Wikidot. So as you can see, seems to work with pretty much any old resolution. So very nice, very nice. Accidentally clicked on Zerg. That's okay. You can see that I reordered the tech tree to have different categories now. Seems a bit more sensible. And obviously, there's been some changes to the setup as well. Of course, I also have added some discussion over here. Some items, some things, so you can check that out. Aside from that, what can you even say? So I guess we can just go to the latest uploads on both channels, because it's just how it is. On this channel, we have, since the last mod stream, which was on the 4th of November, released a Cropel talking about when you limit yourself and you don't actually consider other people's ideas and stuff like that. You can check that out. It's rather short. Got a year-long modder, wave emoji celebration. What else? Announcement for the HYDRA stuff, Melee AI cast over. Obviously, we just did Fraud Night yesterday. Day before that, we released the first episode of a new podcast with Dynamo, the Street Dog podcast, overlaid by Veek. Check it out. No visual to that. It's just pure audio. I think it'll stay like that for the foreseeable future. Obviously, I've also modified the header image and stuff like this. This may change over time, but I have not actually looked back at this for a little bit. And yeah, other than that, it's a mod stream that we just went live with. On the second channel, a bit more content for you. Obviously, released some map analysis videos, Kaizen, Marine, Iris. Pretty good maps there. You should check them out. Yesterday released Sanchez, and 2 days ago released the first VOD of the first Metal Makers episode, which is a pretty big one. Obviously, only a little under an hour, but it's a talk show about Counter-Strike. So if you follow that stuff on the esports level, you can check that out. Mahone recently named the team analyst for Ninjas in Pajamas, which is a pretty high up there team. So you can check my interview out with him. This was actually recorded a fair bit ago, like a week ago almost, or maybe more. Actually, we can check. Just give us a sec here. 2nd of November. So casual 13 days, almost 2 weeks away. You know what I mean? So, but not salty, not upset, no worries. Still good content. Check it out. So, on to the actual plans for today. Assuming iQuery comes back online, which I think he's just off for dinner or something. Him and I will be doing some work on some desync tests. So hopefully we can figure some shit out there. That being said, I've been able to confirm after a while that it doesn't seem like there's any issues playing against AI. So worst comes to worst, today's fraud stream, the Fraudcraft stream for later on today, will be players versus AI. And we will simply rotate people out on whatever basis, you know what I mean? So I'm assuming that means that I'm going to have to play in all games. I can't observe because that would result in me having different vision than the players. Unless maybe I played a weird game where like the old school observing, where I have a command center and 4 SCVs, I play Terran, and I lift off the command center and then kill the SCVs or whatever. And just like have the command center floating over somewhere. Shit like that. Like I could do an observing like that if we wanted to have like 3 players versus AI or something, and I was on a 4-player map, and so I closed one of the AI slots and I basically just turned mine into an observer slot. Or a bit more of a realistic scenario, I would just go into the map and change who shares vision to who, and so I would disallow it for the AI slots. That being said, there's really not that much to worry about in that respect. We can seemingly comfortably take the fight to the AI So depending on how many people come in, maybe that's not even a problem. Maybe we are limited to 3 interested other people who want to come in and play. But if we ever get to the point where, in theory, we have more than that, we're gonna have to rotate some people out. So an unfortunate situation, but in theory, it's okay. Could happen. So that's sort of the plan going forward, is trying to figure out what's going on with those desyncs a bit more. We have resolved some, but not all of the desyncs. And we are going to iCore has to check memory patches and hooks and wrappers and stuff that are related to extending the number of flingy entries that we can use past 255, which is part of the unit ID extender that obviously we've got a very limited one that only extends certain fields of it. Otherwise, we would be able to like add brand new unit entries and stuff. So we shall see what occurs, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I think that'll pretty much be it for now. So recently I was editing the Overlord stats, made it so that they moved a little bit slower, so we can actually preview that in a moment. I am just going to take the Iroleth, find its top speed here. Hey, get out of here. I feel like it's probably a decent speed for the Iroleth, but if we were to take 1280 plus 640 and 1920 that's a pretty powerful amount of movement speed. So I wonder 1600, okay. I guess we could try that. That's probably way too fast though, in theory. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with the balancing of the scales there. We shall see what goes down. I'm glad that if you use the annotation system on YouTube, it just covers my face with a crow. I like that, actually. That's pretty funny. One interesting thing that came out of the podcast that I did with Dynamo was that he was talking about some tutorials in Age of Empires 2 and how I had not personally played them, but I talked about how the concept from what people have been telling me is pretty good. And then Veek gave his opinion on and like broke down like everything that actually happens in the tutorials, and he was like, I mean, like they're not that good from what he tells me. Like they're not actually that good. So it was really funny to see that, because everybody kept saying, "Oh yeah, these are the future." So pretty sad tales. All right. I think, is that really the only time that they mandate a quantum institute? That's pretty weird. Guess so. All right, so I think that's fine. That we just needed to update the AI a little bit there that I remembered to do. Oh yeah, and the other thing that I was gonna check out was like, there's some island check here. I'm wondering why engineering bay and control tower. That doesn't really. I mean, realistically speaking, we can just leave it at that. Okay. Hey man, what's up, Icor dude? How you doing? Yeah, here's another classic example where we absolutely have something that's completely like unrelated now. I'm gonna be raising priorities of some of this stuff. Oops. Okay. And then I already did the island one for that. Okay. So we have a couple of really weird issues with the AI that I have not been able to triage just yet. Zerg never morphing Overlord Irises into Irileth Quays seems really strange, so I've increased the priority of all of those requests, and we're going to see if that resolves the issue. But I've literally never seen the AI morph it, which is not the same thing as them morphing it slowly or less frequently than I want them to. They just straight up don't do it. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. Meanwhile, if we look at the Terrans, they seem to be doing weird shit where they don't build armories. But I'm pretty sure that's due to low priorities, because I looked at it and it is a pretty low priority. So that would at least explain it. I guess another thing that could explain the Zerg thing is that the Irileth Quay morph is a little expensive, so maybe it does need that bump in priority to fix it. The Protoss definitely have some really weird bug where some of their new robotic units they just refuse to actually attack ad with, which was something that I showed off in the most recent AI cast over video. I think that's a case where we should figure something out there in terms of like why that would be happening. My thought process is that maybe because some of them are like the turret units, like the hero tank turrets and the hero Goliath turret, some of those are used for the unit ID, and so there might be unit ID hardcode for AI, because I know there are hardcodes for tanks, so there's probably something to do with that. That being said, I already checked their unit stat AI flags to see if they have that, like, do not become a guard and ignore strategic suicide or whatever, and they don't have that. So, like, that was my first thought, is like maybe there's something wrong with that. But I went through literally every unit and there was nothing like that. So I'm not really sure what would be causing it. Definitely doesn't seem like anything trivial to fix in unit stat. Whereas, like, by default, obviously they do have that stuff. But if I go to like Edmund Duke Siege Turret, right, and I check their AI actions, they don't have these things ticked for the turret or anything, right? So the only thing that's ticked is like stuff that should have it ticked, like the nuke missile, the spider mine, the SCV, and then like the turrets that actually are in existence, right? That's pretty much it. So yeah, scanner sweep, stuff like that. So I'm not really sure what's causing that. Need to rename Gigashark. Any ideas for the name? I think it depends. I forget what exactly it's when you had the pirate cutscene in the opening part of the third mission of your Overlord showcase, it didn't really get to show itself off because it arrived after everything else had already died. So, at least that's what it felt like. So trying to think of like what would work. Gigashark is a pretty good name though, man. I don't know. Oh yeah, let me I really wish we could fix that crash. I don't know what's causing that. Icor said that it was something to do with globals, but I mean, if that's the case, we are kind of fucked because I have no idea how to fix that. Okay. And Icor wanted me to show off the Grief of All Gods AI usage, so I guess that actually reminds me to I mean, it displays spell energy cost, references tech data, but yeah, there is no energy cost associated with it, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the correct thing for it anyway. So let me jump into tech data. I gotta reopen program. What else do we got here? So it looks like 29 is the tech ID. I guess I could have checked that in Firegraph as well. All right, we'll try this and see where it takes us. Okay, looks like it's correct. Well, I have the exit crash just every single time I start the project up and then close it, so... So this is the way that I tripped it, just because I saw this in your screenshot. Just because there's enough health here. They call that an eradication. So they will actually use it. They won't use it if there's allied buildings in the area. And you were talking about queens. Let's wait for their energy to come in. Well, yeah, but why is it doing that at all? I'm not sure why they decided to prioritize that. They should probably sit on it if it's not enough or something. Yeah, I don't think it's working. Pretty epic. Hey, wait, he's hacking me. Hey, get him away from me. No. No, what the fuck? Why? What have you done? Hello? Can you explain this behavior, please? Yeah, it was trying to cast the ability on it. What a fucking prank. It is trying to infest Observer. No, it was trying to parasite Observer. Clearly. Yeah, I guess they should probably ignore Queens, because they have this propensity to cast it on themselves. Or maybe the minimum supply threshold should be higher, so maybe it should be like 4 or 6 or something. What a shitty fucking cast. Broodlings. Rude. What's weird is that sometimes we don't have that crash after I'm in a game or something. Like, okay, crash 100% of the time when just in the menu, right? Oh, didn't happen that time. But sometimes I'll do something and it'll, like, sometimes after like an actual game it won't crash, which is really weird. Which probably means that there's something that's not being cleared properly on when the thing is closed. All right, thanks for looking into that. Appreciate it. You also asked me about whether or not some certain units desync. I actually have no idea, so I couldn't tell you, unfortunately. Yeah, they were. They really were like smooching that guy. I don't know what was going on there. I'm also not sure if you have any ideas from what I was talking about earlier with unit ID hardcodes preventing the AI from using certain units as like attack waves or whatever. I don't know what's causing that, but it's pretty infuriating, TBH. I miss Smoochy Boys and Todd-born depravity. That's pretty funny. Well, it looks like the Cullen's birthday 2021 is actually going to be using HYDRA because he likes playing HYDRA. So, unfortunately, you will continue to miss them. I'm afraid. What do you mean by veterancy icons/overlay? Listen, I'm not an artist. I can't do fucking anything like that. Really, I can do really shitty mock-ups. That's pretty much it. And if that, even in that situation, I don't know about that one. You and your fucking war crap plans, brutal. Oh, you know what? Something I should do actually is I should go in and add. So there's like a couple of units. Yeah, it's the Pennant and the Crucible. They don't have button set rules associated with them, so I should fix that here. You know what I was actually thinking recently too? That we should probably wait. I think there's already a building that has a pass. Maybe it's the pylon. Oh, it's actually missing something. I think the pylon needs something as well. It might actually need. Well, no, I think it only needs 2 on the website. But what is the pylon one called anyway? Yeah. What is this icon ID? 322. And then find a 0. Find some blank lines. So okay, 1437 for the pylon. Crucible is 1438. And Yeah, it's fine. And pennant is 1439. Take the pylon. Okay. Crucible. Pennant. And Rados pylon. Well, it should be enabled. The pennant one is. Oh, maybe I didn't build it after making that one. Oh, I guess I should also check if these, if the units here have power. I mean, obviously for the pylon it doesn't matter. For the crucible and for the pennant it does. So, I was thinking about that. UNS! Yeah, dude. Watch C9, support Flashpoint, check him out. Thanks for popping in and seeing what's up. Yeah, I would need at least some sort of like reference or something to do that, but yeah, that definitely seems more like a you thing, or certainly not a me thing. I don't know. I've been doing so much content for the main channel and for the RTS development channel, which is what this one is, and then also for my Semi-Pro esports channel, that unless I'm like fully interested in trying to do something, it's very difficult for me to actually sit down and do it, to justify it time-wise, if that makes any sense. So even though it might be a really good prank. Okay, cool. I guess we need some sort of hook to display like 7+1 or 7+ Nexus count for the pylon. That would be pretty useful. Exigo Fallen mission where you start in the underground and Empire starts tunneling in with mining teams. Well, the main problem that I see is that like it just adds a huge amount of shit that you've got to multitask with, which doesn't feel quite so reasonable. I like the fact that it adds more scale to a map without necessarily making travel time. Like what it accomplishes, right, is that if you normally want like a 256 by 256 map, it's going to take a long time for units to get from one side of the map to the other. But if instead you have like a 192 by 192 map, or a 128 by 128 map with a... It would have to be some other map size, because 256 by 256 can fit 4 128 by 128 maps in it. So if you had a 192 by 192 map, the distance time traveled, the travel time is quite high. But a 128 by 128 map that has multiple layers, that just has 2 layers, you have a more compact like travel time in that sense. I guess my main issue with it is still that it feels very difficult to multitask and look at 2 separate mini-maps, right? And that's actually one of the things that balances out large maps anyway, is that despite the fact that the scale is bigger, you only really have to worry about enemies coming from certain areas, and you only have to look at one mini-map. So like there's certain things that balance out the fact that the scale is larger, where you don't really get that luxury in the context of a multi-level map. It's still something that could work, but it feels like there's a lot working against it, I guess, is my best way to describe it. And it's something that I still want to build support into our engine for having like as many levels in a map as you want. But like showing the mini maps and stuff is going to be pretty difficult. And I guess you would have to like... You would have to have some sort of functionality for changing which mini maps are in which area. Like for one, you'd have to be able to zoom your minimap into certain locations. It was never going to be that big. It was just going to be like 320 by 320 or something, like 256 by 320 or something. It was never going to be that big. But even still, that was balanced around the idea of this massive scale thing. where actually like if the map goes the way that I feel like most competent players will steer it, you're going to see Kag with his attack add 1000 Zergling fucking literally take control of like at least a 256 by 256 area. So like he's actually going to have a huge amount of territory. And escaping from him is really going to be like that turns into what the game state ends up being, you know what I mean? Yeah, because so scarabs and ammo systems are stupid. That's basically like if you want to talk about if you want to consider the idea of a unit with a weapon being automated because you don't have to tell the unit to reload, that's a different thing. Reavers are removing a consistent mechanic for no reason. It doesn't add anything. It actually makes the unit worse. And then they balance it out by making it incredibly expensive. And like obviously it's very powerful, right? So it's front loaded. It's not an interesting unit design. It's just a fucking gimmick. It ends up being quite impactful in Brood War. But that's like results based analysis. You know what I mean? That's like, oh, my stupid ass experiment that where I didn't consider any of the issues that might arise from this design. It ended up working out in this context. Like we don't know how much better the game could have been if the Reaver, for example, wasn't a stupid gimmick. So I do dislike automating actual decision making from the player, but arming a unit is not really reasonable decision making at the scale that we're going at. Well, no, I think Overlord is it's definitely an experiment, but I don't think it was stupid on its face. Like the thing is like recognizing when it's an experiment is what sets it apart, I think. Yeah, like if you throw a bunch of shit at the wall, only some stuff is going to stick, right? So, given that you experimented with like you probably have like 100 different things in there that are at least high double digit things in there that are like completely experimental that haven't really been tried, at least in Brood War custom content. And when you have that number of things, right? Like at some point you're gonna have to whittle it down and figure out what really worked and what else needs more work and development before you can comfortably say it's good to go. So also, I actually did write in here that the Clarions were supposed to not be able to attack during this effect, but they still can. So yeah, that sound effect is still fucked, but whatever. Oh, I didn't add the changes to the AI files, so I should fix that. So yeah, generally speaking, I'm feeling pretty confident about this build of Hydra. I think it'll work out pretty well. And I think it adds a bit more clarity as far as the whole Crucible stuff goes. We definitely need a read for the Crucible stuff. I guess what we could do for now is just recycle the Treasury read, but that obviously will run into some issues a little bit later on. Still got a bunch of unimplemented abilities, but or behaviors or whatever, but it should still be reasonable. I still want to see attack at 1,000 Zerglings, but I know we're waiting on a couple of other extenders to be finished before we jump into that. I'm also going to ask Veek if he wants to get started on the engine development. Anytime soon. I can never open this fucking thing in a reasonable area. I don't know why. Why? Oh, because it's fucked. Somebody fucked it, lads. Why, dude? All right, so we've got some shit. What even is this update? It's a fairly large one, I feel like. Okay. Guess I should get a changed log set up here. Well, I guess the main issue there is that they're inconsistent with other resources in a pretty heavy manner. The other thing, though, is that like it's an inalienable advantage once they get them. It's not like you can, you know, the best you can do is maybe equalize. So I sent you a DM on Discord. I don't know if you're available for some desync testing, but it would be cool to get some of that done. So we can confirm about the Citadel and Principality. There's another campaign that came out sometime recently. Unfortunately, it's another one of them no Brood War campaigns with no modding. Ugh. If only. If only people actually cared. There was something else that I did here. Oh, yeah. Revise Overlord. Movement speed and transport. Mongol Lord? I actually do forget what it was. I might be able to see it on the YouTube side. Hold on. Mongoleth. Oh, I see. Mongoleth. Check it out. I think once we get a bit more work done on the AI, we should be able to use some should be able to do some castovers. I'm really just trying to get the I'm trying to figure out what's going wrong with the Protoss stuff, where they just ignore they refuse to add certain units to their attacks. But I kept asking you about that, so I assume you just don't know anything about it. Or you would have responded by now. I can probably do the Avatar voice acting. I actually experimented with something similar. It's the same voice acting and editing as Anubarak from Warcraft 3. It's the identical same shit. 100% identical. So. Okay, so what we're dealing with now is... Oh yeah, that's another thing that I can add to the... I should bring this back over here real quick. What the fuck? I'm gonna bring this over here now. Sorry, just dealing with Windows being a piece of shit, of course. I'm gonna ask Veek to get started on it this week because I think he's been putting it off. So do you have any idea as to what could be causing the Protoss AI stuff? Or the Zerg AI stuff for that matter? Yeah, they refuse to build Irelith Quays. Protoss refused to use robotic units. Yeah, they have the request. I've already checked. They just don't... Or, actually, no, maybe I couldn't find it. But I recently rose the value. They get the Overlord Iris pretty quick, which is fine. They'll be fine. It looks like the Zerg players both got kissed. Oh, it's like a nerve center. I think it's pretty common, generally speaking. These guys really suck at dealing with air masses. Well, they lost their only fucking tech structure, so. Bullied. Yeah, so they just don't get the request, it seems. Like, in actuality, they have a bunch of... like, they should have the request at this point, so... Looks like a carry from the Terrans, who decided to put a depot where their command center should be, because they're very intelligent. I mean, I can, but it doesn't really matter in this case. I already know that they got the request in the script, and it just didn't get added. Why does Visual Studio hook into my fucking graphics card? What the fuck? What a program. TBH. That tilted me so hard I opened the wrong program in response. Oh shit, of course Twitch is still using the old one. Thanks for the shout, dude. Appreciate it. Let's fix that. I used Restream to set it, but of course it didn't set it because software in fucking 2020. I should have checked myself though. Should be fixed now. Thanks. I think this is bullying, dude. There you go. We have a request already for build Irilith Quay. Oh hey, it is working. Of course it got brutalized immediately on contact. So it's working with an explicit call. So maybe it just never gets it from the swarm build? I don't know why it wouldn't though. Alright, well I guess that's a never mind. More unsolvable issue is the Protoss not using their robotic units though. But at least I can remove that from the caveats list. Still nothing. I'm just testing some AI in my remake of Brood War. As you can see, one Zerg proved superior here. Well, it helped that the bottom team completely dominated the top team here, though. That was pretty epic. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and close that for now. Okay. I wonder if maybe we should reduce the transport capacity of overlords since they're more ubiquitous and since you don't need to actually carry them around anymore. Like that might be an interesting balancing act. What do you mean? Yeah. You commented on a video in an AI castover where the AI built 1 million of those units and structures. Like, they definitely can. They just refuse to use them in attacks. I guess the movement one is probably the change that we would ship there first. And we would say... Capacity now 6 from 8. Oh yeah, let me get rid of those print messages. Yeah, so it looks like maybe the explicit calls are fine, but a lot of the I might just need to have explicit calls in every single build to avoid that in the future. It's the only thing I can think of. So let me go ahead and jump in here. What do you mean? Try that one. There we go. Yeah. Queen Parasite, Clarion Phase Link. No? Why? The unit seems pretty balanced as it is, so. Well, that would just make it very binary in that you would never want to actually use this unit unless it was in like maximum range scenarios. Like remember that the bounce range is not that much smaller than the actual attack range of the unit. So you could very easily like fly over, and considering the slow projectile time of the unit, it would really annihilate like you would just if they were ever fighting like within their own range, they would just bounce it onto themselves. So I don't think that would be an intelligent way to balance them. I think they're balanced as it is. They're very expensive units. They're relatively slow. They're relatively vulnerable compared to other units of their class. They don't do very good upfront damage. Like they're very much an investment. And the counterplay, generally speaking, is just to tech into meatier units. So I think the counterplay to what you're talking about of mineral lines, uh, the counterplay there is just to scout them out and protect your mineral lines. Because it's not like they can do anything to base defenses. They just get annihilated by missile turrets or photon cannons or spore colonies. They do almost no damage to those kinds of things. So yeah, I think that my idea for the Madrigal, where we actually give it a siege mode type ability, would probably be healthier than what it currently is. But the other thing too, you got to remember is that if you have any base defenses whatsoever, Madrigals just get annihilated as well, because they have almost no survivability and they have to get in close to use their basic attack. Whereas they can turn into much more reasonable units when they like from a range. But I do think that right now they are a little bit weird. So all right, so let's pop open unit stat overlord. Give him a 6er. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think once we see some more player versus player games, we'll see a bit more about that. But now the fraud night today will just be player versus AI because there's no desyncs there that I've observed anyway. It's unfortunate that we're not going to be able to disable the weapon of the Clarion during that ability. It's kind of annoying. But, I mean, obviously we can do it later, but not today, apparently. What else? So we have Exemplar and Clarion there. I feel like I revised some other stats as well, but I don't fully remember. As was foretold. Very strange that the robotic stuff ended up happening that way. Oh yeah, we still have that placeholder calculus solution as well, which is kind of goofy, but that's fine. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta skip songs, dude. Fuck them. Think we're looking pretty good with this patch log. Don't see anything else that needs to be considered, at least right now. Obviously, the question is whether or not the AI is up to the task of punching us in the head, but I'm fairly confident in their capabilities. Gonna take a brief break here, use the bathroom, get some more water, all that stuff. When I return, we'll be taking a look at the AI and seeing if there's anything else that I would like to update. I might just work on the website or something, we'll see. BRB. Hi. Ha! Barguest is marked as ground. That's wrong. Fuck. Dark Templar don't have a melee weapon entry, apparently. I can't believe they censor welcome emojis. What the fuck? Why? How could they do such a thing? That's it. I'm only streaming on Twitch now. Not that they're any better, but whatever. How you doing anyway, DF? What's going on? I'll make up for it. Okay. So that's that anyway. I know some stats are out of whack here. Some of them are inaccurate compared to what I actually have. But I guess I could add a... Bonk. Aside from adding in some information about the Radmin VPN, I don't really know if there's anything else to list here. I can just copy and paste this, I think. Did I have to? Oh, yeah. So awkward for me to type this stuff. I am not used to these keys. Okay. Let's see how this looks. It looks like there's got to be a way to do a nested list in PHP. Nested list, PHP. Nested list item or whatever. Oh, you actually just need to do another UL, basically, I guess. That's pretty funny. Oh, yeah, but your closing UL needs to be down here, I guess. Let's try that. That's pretty funny. Yeah, it worked. All right. Well, I'm epic. Let's tighten that up. You know, what I was thinking recently is that I should come up with some sort of like toggle mute bind on Discord so that I can yell at my chat while I'm without yelling at my people who are in voice for like fraud nights and stuff. I'm not sure what it should be though. I guess that's fine. Only downside is that I guess if I'm Oh, you know what? One area where that will not be fine is if I'm ever doing a mod stream where I have somebody on. So I guess that should probably be... The fuck? How do I delete that though? Oh, I can't, I guess. Weird. I don't know, like the problem is that I use so many keys on my keyboard. I can't really think of anything that I don't use that would also not do something else, you know what I mean? Like every now and then I'll have the calculator out, you know, so I can't use like numpad minus, numpad asterisk, numpad divide, or any of the numpad keys. Especially not if I'm doing like CSGO, because I use all those for keybinds and stuff. But then I also can't like page up and page down would be annoying as fuck if I'm in the middle of navigating a page. Insert would be really bad for like writing stuff. I need one of those like Stream Deck things that add extra keys to your like that are just specifically for, you know, certain things. I don't actually know what those would look like though. I guess I can do Control Mouse 3. That still does the same back button thing, but at least then it's not like going to be toggling left, right, and center. All right, I'll get used to that. Oh yeah, well, of course, DF already is here with the suggestion. I didn't even know I could do Control Mouse 3 as a keybind, to be honest, but... Just gotta send somebody a message real quick. Okay. We're going on high dirt snow cliffs. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Oh yeah, so I haven't actually like reached out to anybody about this, but I'll send you some DMs about this. Sec. I have to dig into my fucking what a text file. Oh, like basically making dirt variants of the snow coastal cliff. I feel like your coastal cliff, the one that was reconstructed from the beta, it's like inarguably objectively better than what we actually got in retail, which is really confusing. I don't know if you feel that way about it, but I just feel like the dirt cliffs are so ugly. I guess they have their place as like complementary things or whatever, but they look shit. In my opinion, they look terrible. I think you could have like dirt that has snow on them or something for the water there. You know what I mean? Some sort of transitionary thing that would actually end up working better. The other thing that I was thinking about too is that Vic made this point when I was working on an ice map, the first mission of my full toilet campaign or mission set. Vic made this point, which I think was a good one, where he was talking about how we should have versions of the coastal snow cliff that don't have all the ice chunks, so that we can have like basically the ice chunk variants would probably end up being more rare versions, I guess, like more like almost like doodads or something. You know what I mean? Like more detailed variants of the more tame, like more barren ones. That way we at least have like the a choice as to what we want to do there. Okay. Wait, I think I just saw something hilarious. Hold on. Oh no. Okay, never mind. All caps. Man stream. Okay, we're done there. So I think I've covered all that shit. I guess I should jump into the Ecclesiast Blaster. Say 10 explosive. What else did we check here? Idle. Yeah, that's fine. That's technically. I know what you meant. Don't worry. So hey, you've I know you've been playing. I don't know if you listened to the Street Dog podcast, the pilot episode of that. I briefly mentioned towards the end that As Cold as Ice campaign, based purely on what you've told me and the insane screenshots you sent me. So I don't know if you've played any more of that or what, but it definitely seems like a fucking disaster. And rest in peace, Jumpstart. Or I think that's the guy who made it anyway. But rest in peace, that guy. But anyway, I wanted to ask you if there was, if you had braved the waters of the Champions of Candia, I think it is. I can't believe it's actually Candia, by the way. If my memory is not completely shot. Candyland Champions, dude. Candy. I was trying to do like a pun of candy and champions. Is it really Candia? Yeah, it is. Candy. Candy. It honestly, it looks like it's probably one of the more like one of the things about Andrea Rose's campaigns is that they're very inoffensive in that like they don't really, from what I've seen, having not played literally anything. Like there were some really goofy things in the Enslavers remake, but pretty goofy shit. Otherwise, IMO. I think it was mostly just like they don't try to do anything, so like, not that epic, unfortunately. I think we're done with this patch note here, so I'm gonna jump into an AI test map and see what we get here. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I have to add in here. What a reality. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Man stream, dude. Caveman stream, if you know what I mean. I want to see some epic like island expansion strats from Zerg now that they can expand or that they can transport from the get-go. Should be pretty big. Oh, yeah, we still got to figure out why the shadows and shit are fucking up on the on this tile set. There's some weird stuff over the grass with the SCV shadows. It's pretty pretty interesting stuff there. I also really like that in this. I don't know why the AI does this on this map. I built this map or this base so that you could harvest it either from the north or from the south, and they always go south. Although I think they put a hatchery over here eventually, if they are allowed to. Little wacky. Whoa. The 2-fact opener. Check it out, dude. Oh no, I have one Marine. Zerg here, 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 Zerg here. Alright, well you got 2 Marines now. Surely you'll eventually use them. Why are the AI so dumb? I don't understand. Oh, there we go. You figured it out. Brutalized. I think that's all she wrote for that AI. He's definitely dead. Although I've said that before in the past, and then they come back because of goofy shit. No gas yet for our man. Decided to omit that. Beautiful. Ah, Zerg here. Yes. How could I forget? You have the 1 port opener so far. Not bad. Limited effectiveness against Zerg if you end up going early Wendigos. So you definitely want to save up gas as an air-focused player. Here we go, brutalized again. Classic. Only one Zergling going down. This is a disaster. Ooh, epic SCV pull. See ya, nerd. It's just in a few parts of the grass. Oh, Zerg here. Oh, no, the old cancel. Ooh, Center us, interrupt us. All right, it's okay. He's managed to recover again. Imagine if Iraq just kissed him again. Yeah, I think it's specifically over certain pixels that I guess aren't covered by the Dark PCX or something. I assume that if there's like fog of war over these guys, there's something similar would happen. It doesn't appear to be happening. But like, I assume if you scouted this terrain, it might get fucked up in a similar way. All right, we have 3 kills on this Wraith. I don't know how many of those are Zerglings versus how many of those are Overlords. Oh, okay, bye. We have double HYDRA Den. Okay. And a Sunken. Interesting moves. I like the response of the double HYDRA Den, though I don't know if it's going to be particularly useful. But I guess that means they'll have access to Lurkers and Basilisks in the late game. They got that going for him. Rates are being pulled back. Zerg here. I like the Zerglings, like, sort of pranking the air player. He's got to scramble his Wraiths, his fighters. Lovely tier 1 crew over here. Oof. Tier 1 mech crew hanging. Okay. Will we see any Hydras to counter this? Or no, that Overlord's dead. See you, nerd. Looks like it's all Zerglings so far. He built the Hydra Den. That was only step 1 of his master plan. I guess step 2 is to lose a bunch of Overlords. I don't think he's got enough men here. Nor does he have enough backup from his ally to stop this freight train from rolling over him. Oh, there is no scanner sweep just yet. It is being built. Instant reaction from the AI. Love to see that. Zerglings here. I don't know, man. This base is really difficult to actually get into now because of the sort of scattershot way that we've got all of these things being built. So I would not bet on that player ever falling. Being said, they are a little behind on upgrades, I feel. They have a turret. They do have 2 armories, and both of them are spinning, so they are going to be rectifying that situation relatively soon. And we do have a fast +1 weapon out of the red player, who probably has at least 1 armory. It is spinning again as well, which means we probably are going to see some more stuff in the future. Looks like those Arak Zerglings wound up going to the mid-right instead. Meanwhile, some mixed race Zerglings, mixed player Zerglings, again sabotaging the resource harvesting of the Confederate player. And the last of the structures are going down over here for our good old miner. Almost no drones on the mineral line for Arak's main. He's still in the process of rebuilding them, it looks like. Although he's not doing much rebuilding over in that area, but whatever. He'll send some over, I think. So he's not going to be of much use unless his allies can help him out there. Outer ring of spider mines from Kerrigan. Very appreciative, I'm sure. I guess the only other thought is that maybe the grass is not rendered in the same way somehow. We do have an evolution chamber pulsing for the Zerg player here, but no upgrades finished yet. Oh, there you go, +1 melee. or +1 weapon, I should say, just got finished. +1 attack and armor for our blue Terran player. A couple of Zerglings here are more than enough to, or a couple of Southpaws here, more than enough to finish that player off. Brutalized. Again, watching the +1 melee on the, or +1 attack on the mech player. And the general lack of drones, I would say this is what we like to call over for the Zerg, the white Zerg player. His ally is still scrambling, trying to keep the pressure on. Still not seeing too many drones out of the AIs here. Yeah, there's the hatchery I was talking about earlier. They like to put it there as the 4th hatch or 5th hatch of that base. Something I am generally seeing in these Zerg bases is that they almost tend to like invest more in their expansions than their mains for some reason. Like their mains will have a lot of tech, but the production is always, or almost always, stuffed away somewhere else. We are getting lurkers now for the chestnut player. Joint Terran force moving through, wiping out all of Iraq. Poor guy. It was not long for this world. Pretty sure every time I've observed this, the bottom Terran players have won. But I think Chestnut has a good chance of at least making it take a little bit of time here. I mean, just looking at the money that he appears to be putting into his defenses and other such things. Especially considering that he does indeed have lurker access now. He can really do a number on the bio. And if the air comes in from his ally, all the better. Still no upgrades actually finished for that player, but it'll come soon enough. We do appear to have either +2 attack or +1 carapace channeling for our good friend here. So this is the showdown, really. Doesn't have any lurkers actually morphed yet, it looks like, that I can see. So this attack force could easily get chewed up, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, there's the +2. Fast +2 weapon. No fear from the Kerrigan player, it seems. And these are pretty much all of the drones that this player has, so this is going to be a disaster. Classic not using the burrowed units. Oh, there we go. Do you have some lobotomy mines going down? Got to be careful about those slowing down their own units at this point. There's the lockdown that goes down. They appear to be casting it even when they don't have charges, which is a little confusing. Also known as hacking. I'll see if I can fix that myself. All right, lurkers are in, but I don't see them making much of a difference now. Unless the drone counts surge elsewhere, but doesn't look like that's happening. Oh, a bunch of lurkers were over here. They're hanging. Yeah, they didn't get hit with... They just didn't quite have the utility there. And off they go. Didn't quite have the positioning. Yeah, with that, I'm pretty sure it's clear W for our bottom team. These unupgraded Wraiths, while fearsome in number, unlikely to do a lot of damage. Still can't believe this guy refuses to build armories. I don't understand. Like, if I spawn an SCV and then a command center, I can immediately build an armory just like that. So I don't know what's causing that. Yeah, if you want to just send me those, I'll add them to the file and we'll see what that changes, if anything. No, it didn't fix it. Still the same. So I'm not sure, actually. There actually is no code for the ghosts. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. God damn it. Yeah, I'm glad he copy and pasted the whole message and didn't even. That's pretty funny. Yeah, alright. In that situation, I actually have no idea what it could be. Pretty wacky. Poor C9. Fucking destroyed. Oh, okay. I guess that was also a suspicious thing because I think I noticed it when wraiths were flying over it. It just looks like it's more of a shadow thing because it's way lower. So I'm not actually sure about that one. We have. So assuming you can fix that, I can actually add that to the bug fix list. Just adding some planning stuff for the next patch. I rebalanced something else. Oh yeah, it was just the idle stuff. Okay. All right, I think we can close this for now. That should be good. I think we're looking pretty solid here with this update coming out. A lot of it is a summary of things that were done since the previous update, but some of it is shit that's brand new, actually. So, brand new, actually. We still need to figure out some other stuff, though. So, I'm not 100% sure what that's going to look like, but we shall see. I still don't understand why the AI absolutely refuses to build armories sometimes. I do explicitly tell them to build an armory before second starport even. A little strange, perhaps. I'm really perplexed by that, actually. I'm assuming... Oops, wrong file. That player... Yeah, player 5 is running the 3 and 3. Okay, so they're actually doing a different build than I thought. They're doing air racks. But yeah, they also get an armory request before their starport even. It's not something really dumb like the AI not having access to that building or something, right? I guess we can reset all. See what happens, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. Though I suppose it could. I'm afraid to actually hit enter here because I'm not sure if it's actually doing it. Which is obviously a pretty goofy thing to be afraid of, but you never know with shit like this. Yeah, I know. Should. But you never know, man. I could just test it to be sure, but whatever. I think shared vision is covered in the forces anyway, but whatever. Since this layout is pretty much done, I don't really see much of a worry about changing, like releasing it. Obviously, some areas where it could be more interesting or whatever, I could still do some work on it, but I think it's fine to have it be an early draft. In term, like the decoration is obviously pretty lame. All right, pretty straightforward stuff here. All right. Just adding a bit of height variation over there should be good. Check the res areas. Do my due diligence. With that shite. Surely. I'll eventually get what I'm looking for here. I guarantee you the AI will do some really goofy shit with this base. Because they'll take this and then they'll be like, oh, I have to build up here now. Or over here now, which maybe it'll work out. It's just goofy. Goofy to think about. They might even like drop and build over here. Or I guess there's a ramp over here, so whatever. But it would be so easy too if you already had like, you could just make very small variations and shit. It wouldn't even be that difficult, but yeah. This is Blizzard we're talking about here. I do need to jump into the... Yeah. Trigger editor here. Okay. You have any idea what's going on with the O-Fire stuff? Are you going to be able to fix that, or is it just is it going to be dumb? Oh, okay. So I should remove it from the bug fix section then? Just add it to here. I guess emojis is the plural. It just looks really weird. And is gross to say. Can you believe we only have 2 fucking cliff edge variants for ruins? It's pretty embarrassing. Good thing is you can build on ruins now, so it's not that big of a deal. But One of the things I was thinking of doing for this mission is making it so that you actually don't have an ally, but you start out with a couple of, like, a small pre-established presence, and there's, 3 enemies or 4 enemies or something. So even though you have, like, a superior starting advantage, you're at a disadvantage when it comes to the number of enemies, but I'm not sure if I'll go forward with that or not. Obviously, the original idea was that Phoenix would come into position later on. We're just skipping that for now because, again, the early draft idea here is just to get the map out there in that respect. So I'm not sure why I decided to have this as a small little enclave of dirt. Like, I get this idea because it's supposed to be like, oh, it's a bit more of a Badlands area or something, but I'm not sure about the rest. Like, kind of does not compute in its current format. So I'll probably seal that up to be jungle. Maybe this too as well. I'm not sure. I guess I should actually, I was going to give the map a run through from the observer point of view. Just to make sure that everything's working correctly. Seems like everything's good. First expansion running up there. Okay. What's up, Balethal? Classic Artanis build, of course. It's Legionnaire time. I wonder what happened over here. Don't tell. No, don't. No, no, no. 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 That's it. We have to do it. We have to move. What? What? Oh, I actually know why then, if that's the case. Hold on. I've solved it. I guarantee you I know what it is now. Yeah, buddy. It's just the wrong height tile. Where are my mud tiles? I know I have some mud tiles lying around. Oh, whatever. I'll just grab them from here. Systems functional, boys. I guess I should check all the others now, too. Goofball. I like how it's correct most of the time. Just a couple of times I fucked it up. You gotta check yourself before you Shrek yourself. Hey. All right, fix that. Hike pass complete, I think. I don't see anything else that's out of order here, so. All right. Well, that obviously changes some shit about this map, so. Let's see how they play out there. Yeah, well, basically, they're gonna if you built a like, basically, if you ran a script from a building that was on the this terrain, even though because it's low ground, they would basically just start building everything on the low ground. They wouldn't mine anything from those resources, you know, so on and so forth. So. Ah, there you go. See, it's all good. Okay, Legionnaire time. All right, I'm waiting for the fucking big brain hatchery placement on either this cliff, or this cliff. It's coming. I'm sure of it. Hi, Zerg here. Protoss are like hands down the best at upgrading, and they already have broken ass units. Like in terms of A moving, like AI on an AI scale, their units are definitely the most powerful because you could just attack move with them. So the fact that the other AI are laggers when it comes to actually getting upgrades and some other shit is pretty bad for this purpose. See you, nerd. Yeah, there it is. I knew it. I knew it would happen. Unfortunately, everything else is dead, so bye. Yeah, Gorn's main base died too. It's over. Meanwhile, Arak having a fucking meltdown over here, just hatchery overload, finally getting tier 2. Impressive fucking delay. And as soon as it was here, it was out of there. Bye. I like how this guy only now started to expand too. What the fuck? One base. With one base, he built all of these gateway and air units. What a guy. This looks pretty banging, TBH. Although I do think that maybe the yellow should be a bit deeper or something. It looks more like a gray, like a, not a gray. There's some kind of color there. It's like a tan almost. Yeah, this is, I just quickly added a bit of height over here and obviously did the corrections that you just saw me do and got the triggers running, and now this is ready to be like an early draft version of this map is ready to be going up. But as you can see, the Protoss just run away with it in an AI only scenario. So I'm going to quickly jump in here to try to play it from a single player perspective and see what happens. Oops, that's the wrong map. Yeah, okay. So that seems fine. All right. That's my testing, by the way. Still more testing than Blizzard ever did. Yeah, it's a slightly more tarnished gold or something, whatever you would call that. Yeah, dude. That's all we need. What do you mean? I mean, I can't imagine anything actually going wrong in the middle of it. It's not like there are any triggers running. So, fairly straightforward. So I'll update the brush files as well. In case there was anything missing there. Alright, just had to add some things to the list. The to-do list. Oh, I guess there is no update to that, so we'll just change this here. Let's just wait for this to finish because it's certainly going to take a while. Well, you let me know what you need from me. I'll see what I can do. I was pretty sure something stupid like this would happen. Oh. Something's up with the formatting here. What is the difference here? Oh, I guess I should add that other note for the... Alright, so that's in there. I should relaunch Get Ahead and pull the changes from there. For some reason, Get Ahead refuses to actually push large changes, it feels like. I don't know why, though. Pretty goofy. All right, so the patch is now released. Feel free to grab it in advance of the Fraud Night. That is going to go live probably in the next hour, so check that out. Again, we are limited to AI games only. So, like a player versus AI games only, I mean. So the Fraud Night will be cooperative in nature. We are not allowed to fight each other because desyncs. But yeah, still should be pretty fun. And if there's only a couple of us, then it doesn't really matter at that point. So see you guys in about an hour for that. Stay tuned for more Hydra development. Catch you guys later.